Hello and welcome to this British Psychological Society audio interview. I'm Wendy Barnaby and I'm joined by Dr. Mark Uphill, who's Senior Lecturer in Sports and Exercise Psychology at Canterbury Christ Church University. And Mark, we're going to be talking about the benefits of physical exercise. So before we begin, shall we just get our terms straight? I mean, you make a distinction between exercise and physical activity. What are they and what are we talking about?
Okay. Physical activity really can be considered any form of activity that sort of raises your heart rate and burns calories. Exercise is considered a subset of physical activity whereby it's more systematic, structured and more primarily directed towards enhancing fitness.
So that's the sort of thing you go to the gym for, is it?
Yes, that's right. It needn't necessarily be going to the gym, it could be undertaken in your own time, but it's with a very sort of precise outcome. Physical activity could be considered things such as gardening, walking the dog, taking the stairs.
Right, and we're talking about physical activity, so we're talking about the whole lot of it.
Yeah, that's right. How is it that we might enhance people's engagement with physical activity broadly? So I think there's probably two messages that I'd like to try and get across here. One is we've got a medical metaphor that seems to pervade our approach to physical activity at the moment, seeing exercise as a prescription and the amount of exercise that we do as a dose. And I think we need to complement that with a better understanding of the reasons why people engage in exercise beyond health. So that's one sort of narrative, if you like, and I don't think necessarily that the dose of medicine and the medical metaphor works for everybody, and perhaps there's more that we can be doing to help understand the different meanings that people have in relation to exercise and physical activity. And perhaps one thing that we could be doing is to generating more specific models of physical activity, perhaps based upon people who are trying to undertake change, people who've successfully undertaken change, and using that literature to inform how we might go about utilising interventions to enhance physical activity.
What sorts of messages are you thinking might appeal to people?
We've got a sort of spattering of evidence, I guess, about that. There might be the feel-good effect, so exercise can feel better for you. Not necessarily will, but it might if you do something that you enjoy and has sort of meaning for you. There's a sense in which it can improve our social relations. We can get out and meet new people. There's a sense in which it can provide a time out for busy people and who have busy lives. Just sort of taking 5 or 10 minutes at regular intervals might help you unwind a little bit and get a clearer picture as to what's going on. So there's a number of reasons why we might engage in physical activity. Health is often perhaps perceived as a long-term objective, and actually there's some more immediate benefits that people can derive, and I would encourage people to try and tap into and understand what they are for those.
So if people think, oh, I'll feel better, I might meet somebody new, and anyway it's nice just to take a step out of my stressful existence and go and do something, that will encourage them to take more physical exercise. And then in the longer term, the health benefits will come, but at least they will start, and they will see the point of starting today for some benefit today.
I think so. So, you know, a simple message might be just to move more. So rather than see that maybe some of the recent government guidelines as what you need to do to improve health, an alternative message might be to say, well, can you move a little more today than what you've done yesterday, for instance? And that's something which is perhaps more immediate, more achievable, might give people a greater amount of confidence in what they're doing, and you might start to see some small benefits associated with doing that. And the second main message is to try and connect different areas of policy and practice that are concerned with enhancing physical activity. So I get the sense that there's an impetus now in the government, evidenced by the All-Party Commission on Physical Activity, that understands that we need to do better at what we're doing. There's increasing amounts of theory and research directed towards understanding physical activity, and there's evidence of good practice on the ground about how we might go about it, but they are still, I guess, a little bit disconnected. We need to try and join those dots together to improve physical activity. So that would be it in a nutshell.
How did you get involved in this, Mark?
Really, as a member of the Behaviour Change Advisory Group within the British Psychological Society, it's quite a new group, and one of the first tasks that we were asked to do was to provide a briefing in various sort of domains of behaviour change, and I was the lead author for the briefing on physical activity.
And so if the government could get to a point, or all this sector which is concerned with encouraging people to take exercise, if they could all incorporate these really short-term messages as well as the long-term ones, I guess that would be the goal of this sort of thing.
I think so. If anything could be done, I guess it would be to try and improve the connection so that there is a sort of coherent understanding about what it is that motivates people to engage in physical activity and what it is that motivates them to continue. So there's a bit of a disparity between those people who actually start and those people who continue, and to understand a little bit more about the strategies that work to try and enhance physical activity. Most of those interventions haven't necessarily been taken from an understanding of people's physical activity change. So if we start from that position and try to understand the things that people do to change their physical activity, maybe that might start to improve and enhance what we can do as psychologists and what we might be able to do as a society to improve physical activity.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You're very welcome.